Today, we're talking about PARCO, which is, without a doubt, the unseen energy lifeline for the entire nation of Pakistan. It's this massive, absolutely vital force that keeps a country of over 200 million people on the move. And honestly, it's something most of us have probably never even thought about. So just stop and think about that for a second. How on earth do you solve a logistical puzzle of that magnitude? We're talking about moving the most critical resource a country has across a massive distance, day in and day out. This single question, well, it's the very reason PARCO exists.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to dig into why it's called an energy lifeline. Then we'll go back in time to the crisis that actually created this company. After that, we'll explore its industrial core, see how it literally fuels the economy. And finally, we'll look ahead and ask, what's next for this energy giant?
To really get PARCO, you have to realize it's way more than just a company. It's a strategic national asset. Think of it like the circulatory system for Pakistan's entire economy, pumping the energy where it needs to go, 24/7. So what is it exactly? Well, PARCO stands for the Pak-Arab Refinery Limited, and it's what you call a fully integrated energy company. That means they do the whole shebang, from refining the raw crude oil to pumping it across the country and even selling it at the gas station. And the whole thing is built on this really powerful joint venture between Pakistan and Abu Dhabi.
Now, this is where the story gets really interesting. See, PARCO wasn't just some business idea somebody dreamed up. Nope. It was a solution born directly out of a global crisis that seriously threatened to bring Pakistan to a standstill.
Back in the 70s, the world was hit by a massive oil crisis. And for Pakistan, this was a double whammy. First, how do you get a secure, stable supply of oil? And second, once you have it, how in the world do you get it from the ports way down south all the way up to the farms and factories in the north? And do it efficiently? That was the challenge. And you can see its evolution perfectly right here. It all started back in '74, pretty simply as just a pipeline company. Then, bam, the year 2000. This was the real game changer. They built the massive mid-country refinery. A few years later, in 2004, they added another specialized pipeline for the refined fuels. And fast forward to today, it's producing some of the cleanest fuel in the whole region. Every one of these steps was a huge leap forward.
Okay, now we have to talk about the sheer scale of PARCO's main hub, the mid-country refinery. This place is, without a doubt, the nation's industrial heart. This is where the heavy lifting happens.
Even the company itself calls it the crown jewel, and it's so easy to see why. It's strategically placed right in the middle of the country, in Muzaffarnagar, making it the absolute heart of the entire operation. To really wrap your head around the scale, let's just throw out a few numbers. First up, the pipelines. We're talking about a 2,000-kilometer network. That's a web of steel arteries crisscrossing the country, making sure fuel gets delivered no matter what, even if roads are blocked by strikes or floods.
And the output, well, that refinery churns through 120,000 barrels of crude oil every single day. That is just a staggering amount of energy, enough to power millions of cars, trucks, and planes all across the nation.
So here's the kicker, the number that really puts it all into perspective. That one single refinery accounts for 35 to 40% of Pakistan's entire national refining capacity. Let that sink in. One facility is responsible for nearly half of the country's fuel.
And what's it making? Pretty much everything that powers modern life. You've got diesel for the trucks and generators, petrol for cars, jet fuel for the airports, LPG, that's the gas many people use for cooking, and furnace oil for heavy industry. It's the essential stuff.
Okay, so all that industrial muscle, well, it translates directly into some serious economic power. PARCO isn't just an energy company, it's a massive engine for the country's economic growth.
The way it's structured is a huge part of its success. It's a joint venture, right? The government of Pakistan holds the majority, with 60%, and the Emirate of Abu Dhabi holds the other 40%. This partnership has lasted for 50 years, and it's often held up as the perfect example of international cooperation.
And the financials? They are just staggering. In 2023 alone, PARCO brought in revenue equal to $3.4 billion, and its net income was $240 million. These aren't just numbers on a page, that's a massive contribution to the national economy. And their reach goes all the way down to you and me. Through a subsidiary called PARCO Gunvor, they run one of the country's biggest retail networks. We're talking over 800 gas stations. So it's a familiar sight for pretty much any driver in Pakistan.
But here's the thing, PARCO isn't just focused on today, It has built this incredible legacy of always looking ahead, with a huge focus on being responsible and constantly innovating.
You know, what's really cool is PARCO's role as a pioneer. They were the first ones in Pakistan to bring in cleaner Euro 2 fuels. Then they invested in special tech to cut down on sulfur. And just recently, they upgraded to meet the super strict Euro 5 standards. That's a global benchmark that means way less pollution from every car on the road.
But its mission really goes beyond just making fuel. There's this deep commitment to safety, what they call zero harm. They're using cutting-edge tech like AI to predict and prevent problems before they even start. And, maybe most importantly, they invest heavily in their communities, building schools and hospitals. It's all part of their vision for a sustainable future.
This quote right here, it really says it all. For decades, PARCO has been called the gold standard for how these kinds of partnerships should work. It's proof that a company with government involvement can run with the discipline and efficiency of a top global corporation.
So when you step back and look at the whole picture, the story is incredibly clear. From just a single pipeline, PARCO has grown into this massive, integrated energy giant. It is the powerful, unseen force that guarantees Pakistan's economic engine never, ever stops running.
And that leaves us with a really fascinating question. As the whole world starts shifting to new kinds of energy, how will a critical asset like PARCO adapt? How is this vital lifeline going to evolve to keep powering Pakistan for the next 50 years? That right there is the big challenge ahead.